So I think it's a best moment to start the presentation. Please go on.
My name is Rasmus, and I'm the head chef and co-owner of restaurant Alchemist here in Copenhagen. Me. I can show you a little bit about the restaurant today and how we work and what we work with. Standing here at Refshaleøen, which is a little bit of the city center, still very, very outside of Copenhagen. In this old shipyard manufacturing, big buildings that we build onto this.
I kører ikke.
Vi kører ikke.
Nej, stil jer op foran kamera 2.
Må de simpelthen stoppe?
Flyt dig, Claus. Flyt dig. Ind på kamera 2. Ind på kamera 2. Ind på kamera 2.
Men kan man flytte den ud? Eller? Hvad skal jeg sige? Det tror jeg lyst.
Vi live.
Hello, and sorry the delay. My name is Rasmus Munk, and I'm the head chef and co-owner of restaurant Alchemist here. So we're standing here now in the lounge area of the restaurant, where we're taking people on, or guests on a holistic journey, as we call it. The restaurant here is a restaurant that focusing a lot about different elements and try to adapt it into the culinary world. As you start the journey at the restaurant, you're starting outside through our bronze door, a huge, massive bronze door that is the weight of 2 tons, 4 meter high and 2.5 meter wide. It's designed by an artist called provoking, a Danish artist, normally produced things in ceramics and now doing in big bronze scales pieces and did this bronze door for us. So after that you come into the first room where you will be met by actors and these actors will put up the setting of the restaurant experience that you're going through. After that, hello from them and a little talk about the holistic cuisine and the restaurant Alchemist. You go into the first installation room of the restaurant. The installation rooms is inspired right now about diversity and immigration. Is inspired by New York. We found this fantastic street artist called Lady Aiko that do this silhouette street art and covered completely this room with arts from New York. You are in there and is surrounded by a little mini version of Central Park and the sounds from New York and the Central Park. And you met there by an actor that is giving you a little piece of paper with an edible quote on from different American personalities, so you can eat this little paper and quotes about immigration and diversity. And then there is this huge wall lifting up, and you go into the first experience where you met by front of house team and chefs, and this is actually where we're standing right now in the lounge area. In the lounge area here, we are taking guests in and seat them for the first time in the experience, where they're going to choose which kind of beverage they want to drink through the night, and also getting a little story about our research and development kitchen, which is in the back here you see with the lighting wall. So in here is the first time where you get something to eat. You will get some snacks from the kitchen that in the daytime is our research kitchen, but in the evening time we have our service kitchen in there and doing the first couple of snacks through the night. Then you sit down, you get your glass of champagne or cocktail and get the first snacks served. After the snacks in there, we are going into the dome part of the experience. So we walk up through this huge staircase that is here and into the dome area. In the dome is inspired by the planetarium style of now it's planetarium style dining, but in my childhood it was one of the only thing that is a very cultural memory for me when I walked into this planetarium and saw all of these amazing universe, stars, and it really inspired me to do something different with the dining setting, and that's why we built this planetarium style of restaurant. In there you will be showcased different kind of contents through the evening that will talk about some of the social issues and debates we have about the social awareness we want to raise with the holistic cuisine, and we show that in the ceiling some of the content that is contribute to the dish that is served in front of you. After in the dome is the main part of the experience you will serve there. You will serve around what we call 30 edible impressions, and then you will walk through another installation room, which now is inspired by the LGBTQ community, and in there you will have a lighting experience with a sound experience as well, and in the end get this edible seahorse. So from that lighting room and through our kitchen, that the chefs in the kitchen will show you how we run the place, and with this interface of a huge kind of a Trello board where we having different tickets for each guest or each table, and then we control it on that monitor that will split it out to 38 devices through the evening. So all front of house and all chefs can follow what's going on in the restaurant with the tables. After that, you take the lift up to our third floor, which is the balcony part of the experience, where you're sitting on, have an overview look of the restaurant and see down to the different rooms that you've been through. The restaurant is 2,200 square meters, so quite big. There is 24 meters to the ceiling, and for the first time you really have this overlook of all the rooms you've been through. It's also up there where we serve a lot of coffee, teas, and the last small impressions, sweets, and then you are just digestive and have a talk together with the team about the experience, and in the end you will go down through the lift, which is the first time you're in a room twice, and that room will change on the way down with the screen and the floor, and then you end up in our little exit room with a lot of kind of the metamorphosis feeling and idea, and surrounded by butterflies. Get your jacket and go out of the restaurant. So that's kind of the experience and fast run through the experience that you have here as a guest. And then one of the things that's very important with the kitchen and the Cuisine at Alchemist is this holistic cuisine, where we want to do more projects than just the projects that's in the restaurant. So one thing is researching and development on new dishes for Alchemist. Of course, that's an important thing as well. But we also have several other projects that is important for me and our restaurant to contribute to the society. So we have an aim on example doing around 10 to 15 scientific papers or articles about new discoveries, sensory analyst statistic of dishes and the way we serve it. In our test kitchen, we have a lot of collaboration with different fields, where science is a huge part of it, of course, but also the theater, like different casters that are doing different things to our restaurant regarding the way that we serve the food. I think one of the things now, I'm supposed to show you all of this in the kitchen, but due to some technical issues, I'm going to show it here instead. I don't know if you can see it on this camera. I need to go up here. But this is one of the things we have been had on the menu since we started. This is our little tongue kiss. So this is a casted tongue, actually casted over one of my good friends that unfortunately had tongue cancer. And it was inspired by him. I wanted to do a dish that showed this in some way beautiful tongue, but also in some way a very disgusting tongue, where you will serve the elements of the dish on top of that. Right now it's quite a very dramatic dish. It's made of lamb tongues, together with a glaze of beetroots and cherries, mustard, and then you need to actually kiss the tongue or have a little tongue kiss with it. I think it's the only place in the world where you can do tongue kiss right now due to Corona, but it's a quite amazing feeling for at least for me and I think for some of the guests as well, to discover more on the ingredients in the dish here when it's served on the tongue, because we did this on doing this scientific article right now about the disgust of serving on this human tongue instead of serving it on a plate, and we tried with 80 different guests where we serve it on a plate, exactly the same dish, and then on the tongue as well. And as we expected, when you serve it on a plate, you're more comfort and like to eat it from this plate without question marking anything about the ingredients or where it's from or what kind of cooking is behind this and so on. You just eat it and going to the next impression. And when we serve it on the tongue, you have completely the other like feeling of what can you say, when you experience the dish or the impression, you really is quite nervous, you are a little bit afraid, you have your senses is evoked much more, and you're really ready to discover what's on it. So we also saw in the scientific paper we did on this that there's a lot more comments on the taste profiles, a lot more guessing on ingredients, and a lot more, of course, discussed in it as well. But I think it's for us and me is a pushing on what is the normal of our cooking and dining out. I want to question mark that, and I think we live in a society where we just keep going in this rhythm with a lot of impact from our surroundings, and when you're not question marking anything and you're just going in this, then there's probably also something you don't discover or have impact on you. And when you then choose to do completely opposite, instead of serving on a plate, you do it on a tongue, then there's a lot more to discover. And that's one of the things that we're working a lot with in Alchemist, science-wise, sensory-wise, to try to keep pushing which kind of tools are we using when we eat out as well. Then one of the newest impressions we just had on the menu, now the season unfortunately stopped for this amazing, beautiful jellyfish, is our little jellyfish serving. So this Danish jellyfish from Limfjord that we got this beautiful jellyfish casted, where we're serving the jellyfish in. Is a thing that you normally not serve in Denmark. This jellyfish is just there, but there's a lot of them, and we finally got it approved from Danish Health Inspectors to serve this in the restaurant. We of course order every time we get it delivered in, and to get in with this jellyfish, there's just coming in and it's alive still, and cut them in small pieces and put it into this bowl, serve it with this kind of Vietnamese sauce, inspired a lot by this kind of ceviche style. But also the fact that you eat the raw jellyfish in Asia, so it's one of the things that we just have been working on. And then we have also one of the dishes that's been on since our start here is what we call the food for thought. So this is casting of a human head. Yeah, it was supposed to have hair on the top as well, but when I found out the price of the eyebrows, we didn't really do it. Now it was quite meaningless, needed to be involved, and the idea was to eat this mind inside the head. I wanted to show a lot of, like, we have a lot of thoughts about everything, and there's a lot of thoughts about this restaurant behind it and behind the food that we served. So I wanted to see if it was possible to get this illusion that you're eating a human thought. And the thought here, what we're serving right now and been serving since start, is a foie gras from producer Edward Susan's Spain, from Sus Laboret, which is not phosphated foie gras. So it, of course, need to put some thoughts into you that it's possible to produce foie gras in another way, but also animal welfare. And this thought will change to new thoughts about our ingredients and our cuisine as well. Then one of one of the newest things that we're working on right now, it's our inspiration to George Orwell, the big brother that's around like our society right now we're living in, where there's a lot of talk about the surveillance of that, and it's one of the things we would like to question mark. We want to put it into our guest awareness, and we serve this little eye serving in it, made of cut ice, that we put into the black hole here, where you eat it from the eye itself. It's casted in where we use science as well, so casted quite like a human eye with the iris and the chains of the iris. We don't have any iris that's completely the same, is this part of collaborations we would like to do more of as well in the future, and we have been doing a lot with right now, is to try to take it to a level where when you're question marking things as well, the collaborations you do, that we have the science behind it, and not just doing an eye for doing an eye's sake. So when we're doing the eyes, when we cast the eyes, we find the best ones to cast it, get it to look as much as we can as a human eye, and of course it's scaled up a little, so it's actually possible to eat something from it. But that's the idea behind some of the servings in the restaurant. So one thing is the food, as I talked about here. We also serve this plastic fantastic, which is a dish inspired by the plastic in the ocean. Danish Technology Institute came with a report when we just opened that 29% of Danish cod was filled with microplast in the meat, or in the body of the cod. And it was quite surprising, so we wanted to do something about that. So we made this edible plastic that's on top of this cod jaw bone, and brushed with a little bone marrow and cheese, and then we put this edible plastic on top of it. And at the same time, you're sitting and getting this plastic dish served on a plastic plate with waste plastic from the Danish west coast. Then you're also surrounded by the jellyfish in the ceiling, together with the right now plastic bags and mask due to the corona crisis. And this, when you see these jellyfish swimming around with the plastic bags and you're eating the plastic there, I hope that we send guests out with a feeling of that they got something more out of it than just food. So it's quite important for us. And of course, there's sitting 40 guests in here every day and eat their all the impressions and getting something out of it. But I think if we really want to do a holistic experience, and if we want to do a impact on the society we live and doing a future of gastronomy, I think we need to focus beyond the plate as well, but also beyond the restaurant we're sitting at. We need to talk about issues that is here, not just the Nordic issues, but global wise. We need to focusing about things that's happening. And I think as chefs, we have a lot of right now there's a TV show on each TV channel. We're standing here and doing live videos, and I hope that when you have this possibilities to speak out, you need to speak out about something that is more important than just a restaurant and cooking and great ingredients. There is a society out there that is on some parts is on the wrong way, and we need to talk about that and put awareness about it. So we're doing different projects in the research kitchen out here, which is we have a project right now called Taste Lab. There's it's a kitchen in the kitchen where we have our daily head of the Taste Lab, Marie, working every day on a 2-year project with a big fund in Denmark to produce education material for kids from the age of 6 to 12. And this education materials is around providing knowledge about science and cooking and create more awareness about it, but also hope to inspire them to choose some of the parts in the futures. So the things we're doing with them is to making these 15 different videos with different ingredients and stories behind the ingredients, the raw material, and then also the way that you cook it, and making surprises, and actually take what we do in Alchemist, the more holistic approach to the meal, take that into to this learning process for the kids. Another part of A project that we have ongoing right now is a project that will hopefully go through and will start early process next year. Is about creating a eating experience for kids under Danish hospitals, but kids focused on kids with cancers. And it's very given to do things like that and also use the knowledge and the experiences we have here from Alchemist to, if we can help provide a better experience to those in need, it also make more sense in the end of the day. So to do in the research kitchen as well, all of these scientific papers and articles about what's going on and to hopefully come up with new concept ideas and techniques to the gastronomy. We're also focusing a lot about the open source environment on that, and that's why we're releasing this year a web page with all of the projects that we're doing right now and the future projects, and not only written in a scientific paper or article, it's also written so people like me can understand it, because we need to provide it as well to the chefs that there's not educated scientists and so on. We need to have it more down to the bigger populations as well. So it's going to be a completely open source center that we're trying to develop now, and where we can go in and check all of the things that we're doing, all of the projects, the way that we cost things, where do we get it from, the suppliers of it. If you're looking at a bioreactor to make fermentation, if you want to have incubators or freeze dryers or centrifuge, whatever you want to incorporate in restaurants, we have these things here, and we have been researching for a long time on it, and we know what kind of things you need to look into, and if you want small scales of these things, what will work and what will not work, so not there's a lot of things wasted. The big wall you look at as well, the lighting wall in our back, is with all of this product in. So there's all of these jugs or glasses, and the glasses here is filled with ingredients and different things we discovered on the way on our menu impressions, but also some of the things we discovered on our travels. We've been very privileged to travel and seeing a lot of different cultures, and these things there will be a little interaction map on our web page where you can go into the wall and pick all of the different glasses and see the story behind it. Where did we bought it, the recipe on a new technique, or the ingredients and the story behind that one, or which culture did it originally come from, and how did it end up in Denmark, and so on. So it will be a big interaction wall where you can really open source go into the different elements and look into them and get some more history behind it. It seems like one of the cameras now working, so I don't know if we should go up and maybe see. So I think our camera guy will go into the dome in a couple of minutes and show some of the things in the dome and some of the different contents that we're working on. But what you see now is our little wall with all of these different things that we have discovered along the way. In the research kitchen as well, we're going to live stream the kitchen 24/7, so it's possible actually to log on and see what we're doing. It's one of the things that we will hope will be finished this year. Otherwise, it will come in the next year to come. A lot of the projects that we're working on in the future now is projects together with big funds as well to help financial to cover some of the cost days with these pre-projects. So when we're doing different science projects, we're sure about we have the right people on it, because we're not compromising on that. So it needs to come from some support from financial funds. And as I think you can see now, you are in the dome, up in the dome here, where you have our jellyfish swimming with the plastic bags, and yeah, this was the content where we also incorporated a lot of mask into it right now. Due to the corona situation, we see all of the mask, which is of course a thing that we need to wear and have respect for it, but we also need to talk about what's going on with the mask after we used it. And I, especially personally, I can see it every day I go home from work right now. There's even masks on the street, and I think it was a science article was it from France or from US the other day that they thought there was more mask in the ocean right now than jellyfish, and that's quite concerning. As you can see right now, the turtle is swimming around, also surrounded by plastic around the neck, and it's also to showcase that there is actually animals we both lose on this plastic in the ocean, and there's also eating it, and that's why it's coming back to us. So one of the things we do in this in the dome as well, the content is one thing. We do this micro universe where we completely surrounded by a Dolby Atmos sound system, so we can create a really holistic and very immersive experience. And one of the things now is that micro universe is changing to one of the other contents, and in this content is inspired by Japan and Kyoto and the cherry blossom. One of my favorite countries to travel in, and one of the country that maybe changed my perception of cooking and was quite big inspiration for me. Changing it now again to a micro universe, all of these branches that's coming up, and completely cover it, and then you will end up in a new content that's inspired by organ donation. In the daytime, we're having three animators actually in house now. They're sitting and doing new content for the experience. So it's one of the things that we also use a lot of time on, is to make this immersive experience, but to developing the concept as well. So, example, when the heart will come on here in a couple of seconds, this heart is inspired by the human body and the lungs as well. Behind the heart there's this amazing huge human lungs, and we actually sat for around 4 months together with 2 different doctors, sending pictures back and forward to make sure that the things that we were actually projecting on the dome is look quite real. And we put on the lungs, we put on these 7 different flowers. I don't know if they can show you them, but the flowers is talking about 7 lives that you could save as being organ donor. And it's not all of the 7 flowers you can see on the lung, but you need to look really after them. But it's one of the content that I'm very proud of, because it's hopefully a content that is getting guests home with a feeling of something more than just food. And then the George Orwell, the eye as well on the plate, on the content, and this eye is a new technology. If you're looking at in like more the visual effects, the way to get the eyes to reflect all the light stays in the dome, and also to look at the diners, has been a quite big challenge, and it's been one of the things that we have been having a lot of help with as well from 3D animated school in Greno, which is in Denmark, and DTU. So when we're doing things like these universes as well, it's with a lot of respect for trying to do something that is unique and new, and also have the science into all of the things that we're doing. So a little bit about the dome, the restaurant, how we do our food, and the holistic philosophy is about incorporate all of these different fields and bring them into the gastronomy world. hopefully learn something from the arts world, the visual effects, all of the sounds, and together with theaters and galleries, not just in Denmark but international wide, to learn from it and bring those elements into our experience here at Alchemist. One of the newest room we're going to work with is with sound, together with the symphony orchestra here in Denmark called Copenhagen Phil. That will do a small, intimate concert experience for the guests and the diners at Alchemist. And it's been a project that's been ongoing now for 5 months, and there will be still some months to finish up the project, but it's with a choreograph and scenograph and instructors and so on to create the right setting for our guests in the experience. So all of the things that we do, we try to do it very focused on the details and to do it right. But I think the embracing of all of these different elements is quite a unique thing we would like to proceed. I think we only just scratched the surface of what is possible to do. And I think gastronomy is such a culture and also a experience. It doesn't matter if you go to where you go in the world, you will on these fine dining restaurants you get an experience, but I think we could do even more due to the surroundings we're sitting in, with the napkins that we're holding, which temperature is it, the cutlery we're dining with, or the plate that we're eating from, is it a tongue or is it a plate, or and not for provocation's sakes. It's very important that there's a story behind it, there's a meaning on the things we do, but I think we can take it to the next thing, and I think we as an industry can learn a lot from theater and arts, where there's a lot of focus about the aesthetic and the senses to be evoked, and that's what our vision and goal is here at Alchemist, the ambition to create this universe of a holistic experience. So that's a little bit about us and me and the restaurant. I don't know if there's any questions for this talk.